Yes. Bring the Thompson Board of Education regular meeting for April 7th to order at 7:01. Our first order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance, then hocus pocus. Greg, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What? Yeah, most of them.
Next is my chairman update. It's a little bit longer tonight. I've let you off easy the past few months, so we had a lot going on in the month of March. I want to acknowledge everything that I can possibly think of. Congratulations to the cast crew, the director, who was a Turtle Lot High School graduate of last year, and all who participated in making this year's theater production of Annie possible. It was outstanding. It was an outstanding performance and bravo. And the middle school was highly, participation was by the middle school, and Annie was wonderful. I'd like to thank my fellow Board of Ed members for their support during the Board of Finance workshops, and the Board of Finance members for their efforts in what was a difficult task. And thank you, Bill Staglitz, for keeping it updated and fresh. It was put forward, the budget was put forward with only 150,000 only reduction to our original ask, which is, I don't know, not great, but not terrible either. The town meeting is set for April 10th, which is this Thursday. And the referendum will follow on April 24th from 12 noon to 8 p.m. There will be absentee ballots available in the town clerk's office, I'm assuming right after the town meeting. The detailed budgets and presentations are available for you on the town's website and the Board of Education's website. As Board of Education members, we are ambassadors for the school, and it is I see it as our duty to promote the school and the town by informing our family, friends, and neighbors of the necessity to get out and vote for the good of our children's education and the future benefit of our town. I just was upstairs at the site over there, I think, at the science fair for the 7th and 8th grade. A great effort by them. Now I know what brand of paper towels to buy and how much water to give my plants. And but I don't dye my hair, so I don't worry about what temperature water to wash my hair in. But it was very informative, and the kids put forth a great effort. Congratulations to them. Please pass that on. For those of you who are on Facebook, there are multiple sites to get information about the town and school events, not just pertaining to the budget, but I urge you to keep going out to Facebook because there's a lot of information about the budget out there and things that are happening at the school and around town. Besides the Thompson Public School page and the Town of Thompson's public page, there is Thompson Education Information page and the Thompson/North Grovenville Forum page, just to name a few. And the next thing is, the last thing I have to say is coming up on April 23rd is the Integrity Plus Award Dinner. And I encourage all of my fellow Board of Ed members to attend. This is a great tradition. It recognizes students not for their athletic ability. We do a great job in covering that, or their academic achievements. We do a great job in covering that at scholarship night. But for their all-around contribution to their school and community. So it's not only the athletes, you don't have to be an athlete, you don't have to be an A student. You just have to be an all-around good kid to be recognized at this dinner. And I think that is wonderful. Unfortunately, I'm out of town that night. So somebody from the Board of Ed, please go to that dinner. I've been going ever since I've been on the Board of Education. And it is a wonderful night for the average kid to be recognized for his contributions. And that's all I have to say. Next up is citizens' comments. Do we have any citizens in the audience? Okay. Please state your name and address for Danielle.
Louise Morrison, Thompson Education Association President. Connecticut Education Association is doing a new campaign called Teachers Going the Extra Mile. And I just wanted to give you an update on some of the extra miles that teachers in this district are going to. Paula Rufo organized a 6th grade field trip to see Stomp at the Guard in New London, which was a great experience for the kids. All percussion, no talking. They were just blown away. Lindsay Kalarko coordinated bedtime stories with the help of Lisa Rice, Laura Wizakarsky, Kelly Hall, Kayleen Taft, Jessie Duquette, Lori Jasonic, Brooke Pinocci, Tracy Anderson, Jennifer Bessanier, Jackie Tuttle, and Megan Cresvano. Many of you saw Annie with the amazing work of Juliana George and Kate Anderson. And, you know, kudos to Lucy Trudeau for all her work at the science fair. And this isn't a teacher going the extra mile, but a superintendent going the extra mile. For those of you that didn't see, Melinda sewed 40 aprons for little orphans. She was altering costumes. She, you know, comes up and encourages the kids during the intermission, just absolutely amazing, selling tickets, selling pizza, you know, handing out pizza. So I happen to have the pleasure, in my opinion, of going out and seeing other presidents of different districts. We really have a gem here. I have to compliment. And, you know, I have to compliment our administration because I also attended the ALICE training, which is the emergency training. Thank you, Melinda, for, you know, putting that in place. And we are leaps and bounds above districts that have money everywhere. So the ALICE people, they were from, one of the guys was involved, he was a trooper for Parkland, Florida. His men went into Parkland, Florida. And the other guy was just a regular trooper, but they were both so impressed with how our kids do lockdowns, how they know where to go for rally points, how they know all of those things. So we are moving in the right direction, and there are so many positive things going on in this district. So I thank you all for keeping that going.
Well, thank you for updating us on that.
And can I just make a comment that everybody doesn't know? Behind the scenes of Annie, those kids would have not come out on stage if Louise wasn't back there making sure. And that's Louise, Jason
Jason
Bruce, Heather, Amber
Amber.
Campos, and Sydney
Yeah.
Ratliff.
Yes.
Um,
I forgot Jason. I should have mentioned Jason also because, you know.
I do want to make a comment that Justin contributed by making
did.
some of the beds.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Citizens' comments from Zoom? Do you have any board of ed members? Or Bill and-
Bill's online.
Bill's only Bill. Bill? Okay, then we move on to student spotlight.
The April 2025 Board of Education Liaison Report. I'm going to start with the TNHS events. On April 1st was the Next Generation Science Standards Assessment for grade 11. On April 3rd was the ECC Leadership Conference. On April 4th, the report cards were issued. On April 7th is the honor roll and voter registration assembly. On April 8th is the SAT day for grades 9 through 11. April 9th is school governance council meeting at 6 p.m. April 11th is the TSLT in-service and the spring break. April 23rd is the 23rd annual Integrity Plus Night at 6:30 in the Rescavage Auditorium. April 24th is the 7th grade Shadow Day at Team HS. April 26th is the Team HS car cruise. April 28th is ballot petitioning for class officers, BOE and BOF liaison is when it begins. April 29th is the Triumph induction. And for other news and highlights, I'm going to start off with the cereal challenge. The 2025 cereal challenge was a huge success, surpassing the goal of 2,700 boxes at 2,881 boxes. Thanks to all who donated and participated. A special acknowledgement to Miss Langer and her volunteers who stood out in the cold at Winnie and the transfer station and helped set up the domino effect on March 7th. Blood drive, the TSLT hosted a Red Cross blood drive on March 11th. We had 25 successful donations, which surpassed the goal set by the Red Cross. The donations will help 75 hospital patients in need of blood, plasma, and thank you. Midnight Madness. Midnight Madness was held on March 14th from 6 p.m. until midnight, hosted by the Langer Collaborative. Participating students enjoyed various activities, including badminton, volleyball, basketball, dodgeball, arts and crafts, video games, and more. There was a ton of food and fun for all. Local Government Day. This year's Local Government Roundtable culminated on March 21st with members of the TSLT shadowing local leaders and sharing their mock election campaign materials and speeches with town officials over lunch catered by the Team HS Culinary Department in the Rescavage Auditorium. Members and advisors of the TSLT are grateful for their collaboration with the BOE Communications Committee who make this yearly event possible. Annie, the BOE report would not be complete without a huge shout out to the cast and crew who made this amazing production possible. And for Student Voice, the Student Council will be asking for student input on possible changes they would like to see for the 2025-2026 school year. The council will share these ideas with the administration. Thank you.
Could I make an announcement on top of the students? Comment?
Sure.
Josh Carlson was, Josh Carlson was selected Class S All-State First Team and will be awarded his All-State honors on April 22nd at the AquaTurf in Southern Maine at 6:30
Great.
for basketball.
Okay, next up is our administrator reports, and we'll start with Mr. Mellon from the high school.
The sea perch,
The sea perch underwater?
Oh,
yeah, the sea perch, we can kind of turn that over to Miss Granato. You can talk a little bit about.
I'll see the students.
The students are not here, maybe you'd like to recognize their names.
okay.
And so just a little background on the sea perch project. Everyone knows that we have a partnership with Electric Boat and UConn School of Engineering. And fourth graders participated in 6 weeks of lessons earlier this year. And then the middle school participated in the Sea Perch underwater robotics program. And I'll turn it to Kim to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so they went to compete with other schools, I believe 6 other schools, and they came back with their second place trophy, which was the first for Thompson. And just a big shout out to Hazel Clavette, who was part of that group. And I'll of course give these certificates to them tomorrow. John Lowe and Riley Parkin and Shyla Beckett. We're very proud of them. Great shout out to Kevin Logue, who is in charge and comes to our school and helps the students prepare for this. Shout out to Derek Bernier. And of course, thank you to our dynamic leader here who actually gives us the opportunity to compete and attend. So we're very grateful, and thank you to the board members for supporting that. Thank you very much.
And we're proud. Second place.
I
first
know,
time on
first
this
time.
is a big deal.
Right? Come on, we have
And
a lot to celebrate this month at the middle school.
And Kevin also brings with him a lot of the students at UConn that are majoring in engineering. So there's usually at least two UConn students actually working with our students in the shop. And I can say that Mr. Bernier, a shout out to you wherever you are in cyberspace. I gotta say that what a transformation that department has made. And we're really excited about what's to come.
You want me to continue mine
Yes.
since I'm already here?
Yeah.
Well, I think this month is just a celebration to our students. You know, we have second place in this contest. Our middle schoolers carried the Annie show. They were
They did.
outstanding, just saying. We also have had the science fair, which was, you saw tonight. A lot of dedication. Big shout out to Lucy Trudeau, who arranged the whole thing. And again, support of our superintendent who helped us organize it. And, you know, Lucy ran it. To all the teachers who helped get the kids organized. A lot of cross curriculum was going on there. And also, and our student showcase that was also tonight. All our teachers worked really hard preparing the students to showcase their work. A lot of hard work, these kids, a lot of talent in the middle school. I am so proud of them. I have to say, after the performance of Annie, you know, I drove home and I'm like, wow, what a community we have, what a school we have. We are so blessed. So just a shout out to my students, a shout out to the teachers, Louise, Kate and Juliana and Lucy. And then one more big shout out was to, again, the students showed up for SBAC. I only had 6 students absent. That is a miracle. Usually I have a long list to make up. That shows how much they took it seriously. They worked to the end, right up to the last minute, which again is a shift in culture. So I'm just so proud of them. So to all the parents out there, parents here, please be proud of your kids. They are amazing. Thank you.
No, he's not here. Okay, he's Larry. Okay, Larry, Mr. Prentice.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Just on the riding the coattails here of Mrs. Granado. Thank you to all the parents that attended parent-teacher conferences. Always really blessed at the elementary school to have just, there's no words, that there's just such a tremendous turnout at the elementary school, and it's a testament to the teachers that work so hard every single day. So Principal Mellon and I were working hand in hand last week to get some high school students down to the elementary school tomorrow to help out some teachers. I think some students have some free time tomorrow in the high school. So trying to use that time really wisely at the high school level. Attendance meetings at the elementary school continue to take place. They take place all year long, really, but last week and this week really marks a special time for me to be able to reach out to parents, either Zoom meeting, telephone conversations, to have open, honest dialogue about what Connecticut views as chronic absenteeism, what that means when students are absent, and the correlation between academic performance and social emotional learning. So that's a good opportunity for us to have a good conversation. On May 1st, there's going to be a great opportunity to see a lot of fun things with the arts and the sciences and reading for Fisher Fest on May 1st. So really, I know I saw several of you there last year, and I think, in my time here at the elementary school, that has been the best turnout with respect to parents, and really just a well-received occasion on May 1st for Fisher Fest. We have been working at the elementary school. We're just starting class placements, really looking at a lot of different kinds of student data to determine where those students are moving to next year in the elementary school. Para evaluations were due in human resources by April 11th. So we've been working on that in the elementary school. And of course, shout out to Meryl Snay and Barbara Lisneski for the awards that they will be receiving. And of course, shout out to Hazel, John, Riley, and Shyla for the Sea Perch and Josh Carlson. So that's it at the elementary school.
Thank you. Dr. Jones?
Okay, good evening. I'll just kind of breeze through the numbers because I really want to pay extra close attention on a couple of the bullets. So currently we have 805 students on site, of which 206 are under special education, 75 504s. Out of district is still holding the same at 25, 15 students in Bradley School, Windham County, of which 7 are Thompson students. We're hosting 4 neighboring districts, Killingly, Plainfield, Stafford, and Woodstock. We've had 5 referrals since the last Board of Ed meeting. And our current special education population is at 25.59%. Bullet 1 and 2 is just a breakdown of how the students are disseminated for the Bradley School, high school and middle school classroom. The second bullet is the dissemination of our out of district, that we have 18 students off site because just 7 are in the Bradley School program. We're still utilizing 6 vans at this time with 7 out of district schools. In terms of referrals, I'd just like to keep you updated on that. Last year we ended with 66. We're at 58. Of the 58, just did a little bit of legwork. 24 so far have qualified through RTI and evaluations of those 58 referrals. So look, number 4 and number 5 as up to date as I could possibly get it. So excess cost threshold change. Originally, the excess cost threshold was set to be 96,219. That has changed. It's up to 104,234. And again, that's with tuition and transportation combined. The reason for that is the per pupil expenditure went up by 1,783 multiplied by 4.5. That gives you 8,023. Add that to the 96,219. That's where that 104,234 comes from. I gave you a hyperlink so you can see where that is, and you can see all of the other districts in the state on how that number has changed for that threshold for excess cost. So then to compound matters, the excess cost reimbursement change. You may remember I had passed out a bill that was passed through the Senate, through the General Assembly, that took away, they moved away from the tiered reimbursement system. Typically in the past, we were getting back roughly 70 to 74% of anything over that threshold. It was said we would get 100% of anything beyond the 96,219. Well, that changed as well. So no longer getting 100%. Now it's being reported that we would be receiving roughly 64.19% of anything over the 104,234. I knew something was wrong when Mr. Steglitz talked to me about what we received back with the first check of excess cost. It seemed off immediately, so we started doing some research. Again, the hyperlink for that is there as well. So if you want to take a look, you would see that. And if anyone wants this digitally, I'm happy to send that to you. You can just click on it. So neither one of those worked to our advantage. We got it on both ends. And then lastly, just to keep you aware, the Bradley School Wyndham County program still hiring. We did have somebody come through for middle school, really solid prospect. We're hoping that they can solidify that person. They were offered the position, trying to work out some last minute details. But still important to know, last month when I was up here, on CT says it was 189 open positions for just the standard special education cert. That's a 165 comprehensive K-12 cert, mild to moderate. That is now up to 255. I double checked it this morning. So the number of open positions across the state. Any questions for me?
I just have one, Mr. George. Sure. If I may.
Kathleen, just,
If I may.
Oh.
yes.
The data on the special education percentage, the
Yes.
16 out of 167, where are you getting that data from?
I can get you that.
Yeah, can you?
Sure. Mind the prevalence rate?
Yeah, I'm trying, I'd like to see what those other 16 districts are
Better
that are seeing, that are above us.
Yeah. Because you'll see like one of them, the number of students in the district is so low. It's kind of an anomaly to even have that in front of us.
Great,
But I can get you that link, no problem.
thank you.
How many of our current students are over the 104, 234 threshold?
2 or 3.
Only 2 or 3.
Mm.
So we're only getting some sort of reimbursement for 2 or 3 students
And it's only 64%.
of
Of the
that,
money
of over the
over.
104.
Right.
Okay.
Pennies.
There were comments made in a Board of Finance meeting that we're not getting full or appropriate Medicaid reimbursement. How many of our special education students have services that are Medicaid reimbursable?
With the Husky insurance, I can
Yep.
get you that number.
I could tell you that, it was 40. I
Boy.
just did that for you.
So 40 out of 206 are only eligible for Medicaid reimbursement.
Correct,
Correct.
and I can tell you that if I can just get to my email, I can specifically tell you, hang on. What that amount of money was last year.
It's 206 with IEPs, it's 281 total, right?
So,
IEPs and 504s.
Yeah, so
So we're not assuming that.
yeah, so this is Gen Ed. But you can still.
Okay,
claim this
so last year,
for
our
Medicaid.
last year in 2024, so that's 7/1/23 to 6/30/24. Our total Medicaid reimbursement for that year was $23,812.66. I will forward this to you all. It was the response to a FOIA request that
Mhm.
you might find interesting. Basically, out of the past 7 years, we've received 249,000. And as Bill can explain to you, those checks come in sometime over the summer. I want to say early August, end of July, and we just apply it against special ed expenses. But I have the 7 years because that was a FOIA request.
Thank you.
So we're not missing out on Medicaid and the state's bending us over in both directions. Is that what you're saying? Okay,
You said that.
okay. I just want I want everybody outside this room to hear that because there is nothing we as a town can do against this, and the state really is not listening, not caring, not doing anything for us. And I'm beyond furious, and my irritation has only gone up over the years, and as if everybody, I'm sure, but
Sure.
I'm really trying to express this in some way that everybody can hear this. It is nothing that we can control, and we just have to keep paying for it until we have some kind of revolt against the clowns in Hartford.
It will work its way out. I'm a firm believer and it always comes back around. It looks really challenging right now. But sheer attrition over a time, it will work its way out.
Before or after the town goes bankrupt.
Well, so there's a couple of things going on at the state level. They are trying, there is a subcommittee trying to rework excess cost.
Yes.
Today I signed on as part of the Alliance districts, you know, there's 36 in the state. I signed on to a raised bill, which will put some weight on each special education student in the district. And what the goal of that bill is that you would get a separate grant of money to apply for keeping kids in district, like for RBTs, extra special education teachers, speech and language therapy, and all of that. Along with that, in that same bill, is a provision that if a student moved into our district from Putnam, say, then Putnam would be on the hook to pay that tuition until the end of the school year. It works in opposite. We would also be required to do
We're
that.
on the receiving
But the
end of
way
that.
we've been experiencing things, people are moving in, but nobody is leaving.
Right.
So it might help. And there was a third thing to that provision. Oh, ELL, there'd be a weight on ELL students, although you know that number's only 21 in the district right now. But every little bit helps. So if that, I'll send you the bill tomorrow so that if you want to send in any testimony or any support of that bill, but that is in addition to whatever they're trying to do with excess cost. It's kind of a separate
Right.
conversation. So.
Okay.
And I don't think you were there, actually, there were not very many people
No, there
at Senator
weren't.
Gordon's appearance last week, and I was there, and I do wanna. He's not watching, but he does look at the minutes, and I do want to appreciate the work that he's been doing. Or on this subject, because. You know, there's other districts, especially the smaller districts and rural districts that are having this problem.
Right.
And you know, we're not alone, and I want you to know that we know that, you know, we're not alone. So it's daunting and frustrating
It
and
is daunting.
angering. Thank you.
Yeah, especially since their focus was supposed to be on special ed and it's frustrating to see that.
And some of it's legislation, but so much of it is the state board of education that is out of touch with reality.
Yeah.
So they need more oversight. So thank you for my rant.
I'm gonna jump on Matt's rant, but I think we said it all throughout budget season, and I want to put it again on the record and in public here tonight. 71%, between 71 and 73% of our overall request this year was in special education. And when you look at the bless you, when you look at the 3 school general request as well as the administrative request over the last 5 years, I think we've asked for a total of 4.5% to 5% total over the last 5 years in that general department. But when we add in special education, that has been the bulk of our increase. And as Matt said, that's completely out of our control. So without some help from the state, and if the town continues to not want to fund education, we're going to run the risk of either starting to beat the surplus down or go bankrupt. And I think Hartford's got to start realizing that we need some help. Because, you know, I gotta go back to it. $64.19 for every $100 over $104,000, $104,234 is just a joke.
It is.
Because at $104,000, you've already broken the back of this district.
That's right. Well, that building going.
Sorry. All right, that's it. Sorry. Don't want to pile on a Matt's rant, but I did.
Not yet, I think. Still floating. Okay, well. We'll see.
64.
Why even bother?
Seriously.
What's
Under
the point?
Where am I? Is it on here? I got it. Yep. I got it. Okay, that was pupil services. Now we'll move on to, we'll do Heather because she's next up on the other.
Hello. I apologize for the missing microphones. We had a last minute change of staff having to run this tonight, so I had to scramble. Last month we had 230 tickets. I want to thank my staff as well. Tyler Clough, my technician, for doing a great job with the lights with Annie. And then we did hire outside help, John Colassa, who's a sound engineer. We had some previous equipment that we needed to hook up from a grant that I had gotten, so he was able to help hook up that equipment and balance the sound. And I really learned how difficult it is when you have, you know, kids that project versus kids that don't, and he's constantly just having to sit there and turn things up and down throughout the whole play. So he did a really great job. I thought it sounded great. The National Guard came out and performed a cybersecurity assessment on the school and the town. I think overall it went pretty well. I think we're doing a good job. But there is a cybersecurity grant coming out that's due in May that I will be applying for to improve our cybersecurity posture.
Did we get the results of that assessment?
We did, yes.
Oh, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
it.
can go over that with you.
Okay.
We're beginning preliminary planning. We have a lot of computers, laptops, staff, and high school students that we have to collect devices from over the summer to upgrade to Windows 11. So that's going to be a big project, but we're already planning and we're prepared to deal with that. And then just I'm still working on updating and creating a business continuity disaster recovery plan for the school and the town. Just looking to update and add some cybersecurity information into those plans. And then working on building out and also attending some trainings, but building out from those trainings some staff training on artificial intelligence. So hopefully we can get that. I'll gather that over the summer and we can provide that for the fall. I mean, before we start rolling things out to students, so.
And you've been knee deep in SAT and PSA.
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to thank Tyler and Travis, just running around and making sure we have Chromebook carts and extra devices and chargers as we're doing all the state testing.
Tomorrow, right?
Crazy. Tomorrow's SAT, so they'll be here at 7:15.
I have one for
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
Yes.
If I may. Couple months ago, there was the power school breach that we all got, all the parents got. Do we have any update on that?
The update, there's a link on the website. If you want, you can go and sign up for a free credit monitoring that they're offering for, I believe, 2 years. But again, we didn't store any social security numbers or anything that. I mean, it's up to you what you would want to do with that, but it was student and teacher databases that were leaked. So it's really just demographic data, email address, phone number at this point.
Okay.
So.
That's why all the spam calls. I got it.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have, I'm going by the packet here. We have Michelle online there.
I don't think she's with. Oh, she
Yeah,
is.
she's
on.
on.
Yep. There she is.
Hello.
Hi.
Currently, we have 2 open positions. One para educator at the high school, which is a very specific candidate we are looking for. We have a special education teacher at the high school also open. Tomorrow night, we have our panorama surveys. We'll be presenting our 2025 climate results by Zoom at 6 p.m. And I'm currently working on the Health and Wellness Fair, I-9 auditing, and I'm prepping summer work.
Thank you. Mr. Steglitz.
Hey, everybody. A bit of a mixed bag this month on the report. I want to remind everyone that this report is through 3/31 because, as Dr. Jones mentioned, we've had a lot of moving parts since then. Revised budget at that point had not changed. Year-to-date spending was at 71.4% of the budget, just a bit ahead of where we were last year. Year-to-date encumbrances, same thing, slightly further ahead, and I'll be touching on that in a moment. Total projected spend of 21.4 million, 99.8% of the budget, up almost 1% from where we were last year. The next line in the report, all of the previously discussed numbers there are net of our estimated special ed excess cost number, which you'll notice has been adjusted down to 230,000 to reflect what we expect to receive in total for the year. That was 255,000 as of our last report, and that 255 was meant to only represent a portion of it. The change here reflects the concepts that Dr. Jones addressed in his report. So the 230 is what's baked into these numbers. At the moment, we are still showing two departments in a deficit position. Pupil services driven by this, unfortunately, the same drivers that we've talked about in the past. Paraprofessionals, expenses, special education teacher salaries, RBTs, and out-of-district placements. We continue to still do pretty well in special education transportation costs. That partially offsets those, and ESY again, moderately over budget by $122. I would like to touch on the fact that since this report has come out, we've had some further development in special education. So we have some POs that have been, some encumbrances that have been in place in the month of April to the tune of almost $200,000. I'm hopeful that as we continue to scrub through encumbrances that we can start to fill in some of that gap. But that's a pretty big hit to take this late in the year. So I just wanted the board to know about that, know that we're on top of it, and hopefully we can cover it, but that's a bit of pressure on the numbers that, we didn't know about until really just last week. Any questions?
So how well versed is the Board of Finance on this sort of stuff? Are they in the know that we're over, that there's a potential of this additional 200?
Well, as of our last report, I mean, Melinda attends every Board of Finance meeting. She gives a quick update. I typically end up echoing her comments in Board of Finance. So they're updated monthly also.
Yeah.
And I think after the May Board of Ed meeting, we're gonna have a better picture of where we stand financially. And if we find ourselves on beyond our budget, then we'll have to inform the Board of Finance. We will need a supplemental allocation, but at this time, we're gonna start to shut down POs that are open. And Bill just started that work today.
Yeah.
So once we go through that exercise, we'll see what that number is. We'll have better information, I think, next month after we close down those POs that are open.
Would anyone be opposed to adding the two accounts that we have to this financial report, just so they're on the bottom of it? Is the 2% one and the 1% one, just so we know what those numbers are on the regular? Would anybody be opposed to that?
The non-lapsing account.
The non-lapsing account.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
If we
it's
can-
actually probably a good idea to have that, so when stuff like this comes up, we know what we're.
I would think we'll be going there first.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, and I know Melinda, you and I had a quick conversation about it. School lunches,
Yes, I gotta get those numbers for you. I'm sorry, I didn't get that.
I think that would be a good thing to just, now that we're here, if we're this tight, $1,000 in each direction is gonna matter.
Well, it's trending that way. When you think about what your school's at 1,300 or something like that, the high school's just about that. And I don't have the hard number on Larry's school, but yeah, we could be facing 5,000-6,000 already.
So I'd like to make sure we have all the numbers on one sheet. If you could, please, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Not looking promising.
No.
I'm sure Bill Birch has good news for us.
Yeah, Bill, what's the good news?
Nothing but sunshine.
Where you been living?
Well, I don't have much after that. There's not a lot
no bad news anyways. I
No
could
bad
use-
news is good news.
I could use some warm weather so that I could
Yeah,
shut
we
these
all
boilers
could.
off. I'd be happy with that. But the HVAC project is going along, nicely. I've got mechanical contractors on site every day. The electricians are on site every day. And the control contractors are actually here now. They're working nights for, the last 2 weeks. They've got, a lot of progress has been made down in the elementary school and nobody even knows they're here. So they're apparently doing the job right. We've got one boiler out. It's on the grass out behind the oil tank, waiting to be picked up for scrap. But we really could shut the other ones down, would help greatly. Next week, while school is closed, they're going to tap into the hot water system at the high school for all the rooftop equipment. We're gonna have, probably an electrical shut off one day where we'll shut the power off to the school so the electrician can do something that he's gotta do in the main switch gear. And, we're gonna have one day that there's no water, cause Connecticut Water is, capping off the old 1,000,000-gallon tank up on top of the hill. And that's gonna put us out of water for a day. I know Deb Spinelli's first home track meet is next week. All the equipment's here. So that seems to be ready to go. The baseball fields are in pretty good shape. The grass is starting to turn green, although it's a little dug up today, but it was turning green kind of nicely. The secondary play area is all done. That's open, for anybody that cares to use it. So that's about all I got. As I said, no bad news tonight.
No bad news is good news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's very good. Okay, Shannon. Any updates on?
Good evening. I don't have anything new to update you on.
Okay, everybody's healthy-ish?
Healthy-ish.
I would call it ish, getting better. Each day is better. We're getting to that point, I think, where if we can just get a little bit of even warm weather would be good.
Yeah, sunshine would help, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's that. I don't see Deb, so. Okay. Approval of minutes is next. I have a motion to
Motion.
approve the minutes from our budget meeting and our regular meeting, March 3rd and March 10th.
Motion to approve the budget meeting minutes, March 3rd, 2025, and regular meeting minutes, March 10th, 2025.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll put the motion to the floor for a vote and to, Bill, you're on Zoom.
Yeah,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Any opposition, say no. Any abstentions? No, the vote passes. We're missing 2 members, so 7. Okay. Subcommittees, did we have a?
We did.
Okay,
Yep. So the communication subcommittee met on March 24th. The summary is that we talked about high school tours to middle school parents and students. There is a shadow day that's coming up on 4/24 for the 7th grade. We talked about communication methods to parents that is still ongoing on minimizing apps and trying to streamline that. We talked about the leadership roundtable that had just happened on March 21st. The talk about college acceptance and decision day on May 1st and what the plans were for communication of that. Capstone marketing and community stakeholders were discussed. That is coming up in May. Ongoing initiatives is the Did You Know campaign, promoting high school collaborative projects, one being the car show that's happening the weekend after Easter, whatever
April
that.
26th.
Okay, so Saturday, and that's over at the high school. And it's free to go to, $10 if you want to show your card. They also talked about the incentive program. One of the big things that's coming up is a WooSox. That's high school one, right? Is
It's
that-
the high school,
high school?
yes.
Okay. And then there's some possible thoughts about some peer modeling and some things like that. Lastly, we discussed initiatives on how to give communication about the upcoming referendum vote. And reaching out to folks just to let them know that it's happening and to make sure that we get as many parents, teachers, and community members to come out to vote. And I think that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, and I just want to say, thank you for those great videos that Heather's been running over to the office airdropping videos that we've been able to put on Facebook that have been phenomenal. And Winnie has picked them up, so
Yes.
they're getting good viewing.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I urge you, tell everybody you can. Go out to Facebook. There's tons of information about the budget, about what the school is doing. Get the word out. And make sure people go out to vote. Okay, I will now turn it over to Superintendent Smith.
Okay, and so our enrollment report, which is unusual for this time of the year, but we have picked up 2 students at the high school. A total at Mary R. Fisher is 361 students, no change over last month. At the middle school, 265, again, no change. But at the high school, we have increased 2 students to 178, brings us a total of 805 students, and our other highest month was in October of 806. So we're climbing back up. And, yeah, that's it for the enrollment report. And just so on a sidebar, we had a huge Office of Civil Rights data report upload, thanks to Heather and Danette. Danette Sine does an incredible amount of work. It's laborious, time consuming, and it takes her many months to gather the data. It was submitted on time today. So thank you to Danette for doing all that background work.
And to whom was that submitted? Federal or state?
Federal. And so, yeah, we're not sure where it's going, but we sent it.
No, as Senator
sure.
Gordon said last week, there's plenty of reports that go out and that are a burden on us, on you. That, does anybody do anything with them? And if not, let's get rid of them. And I would hope that, you would be in favor of that too. It's important. If data is useful to somebody, great. If it's not getting looked at, what's the point?
And so Danette and I had that conversation today where she said all that information lies at the state level. Why there's a separate federal report that has to be done. Back in the day, that report was done every 3 years. Then when COVID hit, the federal government wanted more information around, just basic school data. So then we were submitting that report every year.
Mhm.
There is a movement now to take it back to once every 3 years, but like the redundancy of it all, when she already does it for the state,
Yeah.
seems silly.
And I'm sure it's not in the same format.
No, it's
No.
different,
Why would
but
it
I
be?
will tell you that in my
Candace
past,
submitted.
a district did not submit it on time. And I came into the district in January and they did not submit it on time and there was hell to pay. There was just a lot of oversight and a lot of red tape that the district had to go through with legality and everything else. So you don't want to miss that deadline.
No,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm not dismissing it offhand to say that we shouldn't be doing it, but I just want to, it'd be nice if.
To not do it.
It'd be nice if the state could talk to the federal government and say, hey, we have this data, would you like it?
I get it.
Or put it in the same format, so you just pass it up to go in somebody else's wastebasket.
Exactly. And so,
Especially
yes.
now that.
We won't have a Department of Education, so
Yeah, there's nobody to report.
nobody's gonna be
to.
looking at it.
but it's in there, so.
I'm angry tonight.
Fired up.
Okay, next
Sorry
up
for
is the
interrupting.
healthy food certification approval. We are required, and this is going to go by the wayside too, because there's no,
Why are we required? Is there funding attached to this?
no,
Yes,
there is.
Yes or no?
Yeah. you'd
yes,
think.
so, well, currently until June 30th, there is. So we do have to at least read this into record.
So there's, but this is for July 1, 25 to June 30, 26.
So I've not received any information that anything has changed for our meal service program yet. And I use the word yet.
Yes,
But
yeah,
this is,
the local food funding program's been discontinued.
but this says that this certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources.
Right.
So this would be like we offer something in the culinary program. If there's a bake sale, like anything like that, that's what this covers.
So we're not allowed to have like the bake sale. Culinary can't serve competitive foods to students during the day. That's why we don't serve student meals out of culinary at all.
So what does this fall in? What,
Well,
This
a
is
state
the,
regulation.
shall include all food offered for sale separately from reimbursable meals. So in other words,
Year.
we have to make sure that we're following the Connecticut nutrition standards if we did.
Okay, so
The
this is
state-
a state.
No, I get it.
regulation.
I'm just wondering what it is and why we're approving it.
We're,
Because our overlords say we must.
yes.
Well, for under,
This is why Tom and I abstain from this vote every year.
yeah, under what reason? Like, if it's not tied to funding. And we're gonna put an exemption, and the kicker is the second part of this, which is the exemption to it. Right, we're gonna vote to implement the healthy food certification, and then we're gonna vote for an exemption to it, so. It's the epitome of irony, in my opinion.
Didn't Belinda say
Well-
that there is funding tied to this? She just doesn't know if it's going
it's
to
And the other-
happen
and the
next
other
year as
part
it
of
has in
this-
years past.
It is in your school wellness policy,
Mhm.
so that you approve this annually, but it is written in your school wellness policy.
Yeah, no, it's in there. Nothing-
Yeah, we can't do
have
this
to look at
during
that
the
policy.
day, but at night,
It's just.
at the
we have to.
games, you can offer
Right.
potato chips, like in that.
Yeah.
In other
That's-
words, you're not supposed to sell potato chips or candy during the school day. You have to wait until 30 minutes after school has dismissed. So it really is for any kind of like athletic parent group that sells things at night. That's why you
Don't
can
look at
sell
me.
that's why you can sell candy during a basketball game because
Right.
it's beyond 30 minutes.
Or the Annie production.
Or the
any of
Annie
that.
production, the alumni sold
right.
that on the weekend.
Yeah.
But it gives us that exemption or leeway, but you can't do it within the school day.
I remember Tom being on a rant a few
Mhm.
years ago about that, quite the rant,
Yes.
if I remember correctly.
There were times when we could have bake sales, we could sell lollipops, we could do all these crazy things during the school day. It's not allowed. So,
No, we could if we do the exemption part, right?
Not during the school day.
No,
No,
during
that-
the
that's
day.
been-
That's
yeah,
for after, okay.
Yeah.
but our
For
policy
after
states
school
we can
events.
have a principal can submit a waiver. A few times a year. They don't usually do more than 2 or 3. But say they want to have cookies with Santa. They'll submit a waiver and we'll allow for that, but on a regular basis, they cannot.
So we just rubber stamp this every year,
Correct.
cover our butts. But I don't think we've ever been called on it. Nobody's ever.
And we kind of follow the rule. We're rule
But
followers. So
we
we
used to,
follow-
you know, when the mothers brought in cupcakes for somebody's birthday, you can't do that anymore. No
Right.
cookies and no cupcakes for somebody's birthday.
Twinkies for you.
We do a blanket waiver before the holiday break because I can't control. I'll just put that out there.
Remember, there was a cookies and Santa.
All right. Are you satisfied with the answer, Justin?
Sure.
But you have to read this into the minutes.
Oh, I'm
Yes, I-
satisfied with the answer. You're not
Yeah,
getting
I
emotion
read
out of
it
me.
into the minutes.
Read it out loud.
Oh, come on. Required vote, okay. Pursuant to CGS section 10-215F, the Thompson Board of Education certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2025 through June 30, 2026. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
I second that.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor of adopting this? Say aye.
I,
Aye.
I mean,
You
don't have Whatever.
choice,
yeah, really doesn't, yeah.
Yes, I.
Yes.
I'm abstaining.
I'm opposing.
Come on.
Nope,
It's still.
it's asinine.
Bill said yes, I said yes. Yes, yes, abstain,
And no.
and no.
where's Tom? There's no.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. A motion for the Thompson Board of Education will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event, parentheses, is an extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events. But soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food sales. Do I have a second? I'll second. Kristen seconds it. Okay, any discussion on this one? Does everybody understand this? I will now take a vote. Bill?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Yes.
Abstain.
No.
Okay, same as the. Okay. And I don't understand what I was sometimes. Okay, alumni and personnel exemplary service recognition award recipients, and I forgot to bring my pretty little printout. That was pretty. This is very nice.
Danielle.
Danielle, very good job. Okay, before our next June Board of Ed meeting, we are going to recognize the following recipients of our 2025 Alumni and Personnel Exemplary Service Recognition Award. And this year it's going to Barbara Lesniewski and Meryl Sinay. And that is going to be in the auditorium.
In the auditorium, we usually do it there so we can be
Yeah.
right near the floor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
please be present for that. How much you gonna do now?
Please,
I thought you were gonna do now.
we decided these were pending from last
Okay.
year, so we're gonna bump that up to next
Okay.
year.
All right. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Creation Church request for Easter services security.
So I'd like to address that. Ordinarily, I would make a decision on my own. But Greg and I talked about this. And because the board has a policy about our security being unarmed. This is the first request that's come in from an outside group. I just wanted to make sure that I am delivering the right message to organizations that rent our space, that we are going to be consistent with the Board of Ed's policy. But I wanted to put it out there for discussion and make sure I'm doing what the board would like me to do.
Please verbally enlighten.
Please.
Please verbally enlighten. What is it that we're
Oh,
discussing?
So the Creation Church has their Easter service here every year. A couple of years ago, the board approved them having a religious service here, and they've been great partners. They're wonderful people, and they are very respectful of our space. But part of their safety and security measures, because of the shootings that have happened across the country in church gatherings, they also have a safety plan. Part of their safety plan is to have armed individual security with concealed weapons. And so they asked permission to have that during the Easter service. My initial reaction was that doesn't follow the policy that we have. We don't have liability insurance to cover that. And then I spoke to Greg and we had a conversation back and forth, and we felt we needed to be committed to the policy that we're currently using for school children. And so before I deliver that message, and I'll deliver it to any organization, I just want to make sure I'm delivering the thoughts and will of the board. Greg, I don't know if you have anything else to say to that.
When Melinda approached me, the first thing I thought of was liability insurance. I mean, you guys have a standing policy that states no firearms on the school district unless you're an active or off-duty state trooper or police officer. I mean, they're allowed to carry 24/7. But not being an armed security team up here violates your policy. But the biggest thing is the liability insurance, you know,
So I just wanted to make, yeah. So I just wanted to make sure I'm delivering the correct message.
Okay.
And they're good staff. I read through their policy and
Yeah.
they got some decent individuals there. Not quite sure if they're retired police officers or not, because that didn't indicate that on there to me. If they were, I'm sure they probably should have put that there, which, you know, could have shed a little bit of light on their argumentative side, but they didn't, so.
Yes, ma'am.
It's irrelevant what their qualifications are. If they want to ask the state police to show up. Fine, but if we don't feel that we're needing them during school hours, then I don't see why a religious organization should need protection.
Okay,
from
we need a
guns.
motion on the floor before we discuss, okay?
I'll make the motion to open this request for Easter services security for discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Yeah, you can continue.
I stand with Melinda and Greg that it's just irrelevant what their qualifications are. If our policy is that there's no firearms unless you're an active duty police officer, I just don't see how
And
it's
that
relevant.
is,
And
I
that could
agree
be a
with you, Matt, that
suggestion.
is their option to have a.
Yeah.
trooper.
We can have state troopers come to our events if we need them.
Yeah.
So can they.
Right, they have been great
Great partners.
partners, on Easter Sunday, they need the space. And that is an option that you could give them.
I will give
And I
them that.
appreciate you bringing it to the board. And asking our opinions rather than, I really appreciate that. For anybody else?
Yeah, so I hate creating soft targets, and just this discussion of it creates a soft target. But I think if they do feel that they need armed security, they should be asking for law enforcement officers as
Yeah.
per the policy that it currently states.
Agreed.
I disagree with soft targets in general, but in this case, we have a policy against it, so. I'm gonna hold that.
It's hard to see you, Bill, but do you have any input on this?
Oh, well, I did. I'm just going to agree with everything that was said. I disagree with Greg that the biggest thing is insurance. The biggest thing is we have a policy with no weapons on the campus. And that's the end of the story. And if there's a credible threat, they should have state police or cancel it.
Okay. All right, so there's been a motion, there's been a second. Any further discussion? Then I will take a vote. All in not in favor, I guess, of
Or just upholding the policy that we
upholding the
currently-
policy here of, we're not against them using the auditorium, what we are against them having armed.
Stick to the policy.
Yeah,
That's it.
Policy
upholding
says
our
that.
policy, say aye.
Aye.
And we will allow Melinda to go back to them and suggest that they have a state first, armed state
Police officer.
law enforcement.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody have any old business to bring up at this point? I have one item that, and I will get to it after the referendum, or prior to. We had discussed last year that we want to get the superintendent's evaluation out prior to the end of the school year so that she can create her goals, and we're going to do a board evaluation. And November is an election year, and some of us are leaving. Not me, but some of us are leaving. I don't know who is leaving. I know Danielle
It's
is
just
not.
Danielle.
Uh-huh,
I think it's just Danielle and maybe Tom.
maybe
Oh,
Tom.
yeah, Bill too.
Bill's up for reelection, Tom's
Okay.
up for reelection. I know Danielle is not going to sit, but I don't know about Tom and Bill, but there are three of us up for reelection. So I would like to get that out of the way because we said that we are going to base Melinda's goals on our goals. So we need to do that. Hopefully we can do that. I know June, no, there is no good time. So I'm thinking if we do ours in July, she can do hers in August. And, just to let you know that that's coming, I'll send that out. Jess has been really great in helping us do a fillable form. Gotta go find it, but I had it in my drive, in my folder.
Good, because I don't know if I have.
I have it. And I'll get that out. But let's get through the budget. And I'll get that out to all of you. Let's fill that in. I know we did a test drive. Some of us, not all of us, but some of us did a test drive. So this time, all of us have to do a test drive. And for those of you who are not going to join us again for next year, put down for the new people who are coming on and for the old, for those of us that are staying, put down what we could do better, what you didn't, I mean, a lot of you, if you're not coming back, maybe, are longtime people. Put down what really, we could do better. And that's the whole point of the self-evaluation. What can we do better? And, Anyway, so I'll let you know that that's coming. And then in August, before the new year starts, we need to have the superintendent's goals. Okay, so new business you have before you, and do not mention names here, please. The non-renewals as suggested by superintendent and or layoffs.
Motion to approve the non-renewals / layoffs list from 2025-2026 as presented by the superintendent.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? Without mentioning any names.
I make food in it.
No discussion? I'll put the motion to the floor. Motion to accept the non-renewal list, layoff list as presented by Superintendent Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Any opposition, say no. Abstention? Motion passes. Any correspondence?
Not like official correspondence, but Frank McGarry had emailed me today and said that he and Eileen had a voter drive for a new registrar, seniors.
Yep.
And they got 13 students to register to vote. They thought it was a good turnout. Several had already been registered, so those are the only ones that were age eligible to be able to register for the upcoming budget election.
Hooray. That's good news. Get out the vote.
And
Yes,
As a piggyback, is there the time from what this Thursday is when the town meeting is
yes.
to when the
24th.
vote will be the 24th of this month? Will there be time to do an absentee ballot?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, you can get absentee ballots the day after the town meeting, so
Okay.
come Friday.
Alright.
You can go to the town clerk's office and pick up an absentee.
I think registration is up until 3 days.
Yeah, it's a couple of
3
days
days
before,
before.
it's day of if it's like an election or a presidential election, but for a referendum vote, no, it's a couple
3
of
days.
days.
I think it's 3 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Any citizens' comments? Any citizens' comments from Zoom?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, meeting is adjourned.